the motherfucking Eagle Double G.
Snoop Dogg.
Hi guys, welcome to my review of the debut album from the Ruen Brothers, All My Shades of Blue. Now I will admit I've only known about the Ruen Brothers for a few years, and that's only been because I have a friend called Callum who is a huge fan of them, and he constantly kept telling me I need to review this album when it came out, and now he's in America and far away from here. I can say I give this album a 0 out of 10. No, but all kidding aside, this album is kind of okay. The album is heavily inspired by 50s rockabilly, especially bands like the Everly Brothers. I know Johnny Cash was a huge influence on the band as well. So going into this album, I think you kind of have to be a big fan of that sort of stuff, and I guess it's not really my scene. Like, I'm not against it, I don't dislike that style of music or anything, it's just not something that I really listen to just casually or anything. And the band's gimmick is basically that they're taking that old style of music and updating it in 2018 with modern production. They've got infamous producer Rick Rubin producing the album. There's quite a lot of big name musicians backing them as well. They've got the one and only Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers playing drums. They've got the lead guitarist for the Killers playing all the strings on the album, and they've even got one of the guys from the band The Faces on the album as well. So there's some pretty big names on this album, and even if this style isn't really my style of music, I definitely have to say there's a lot of songs on there that I do really like. I really like the title track on the album, and I also really like all the older singles that they released years prior that have made its way onto the album. Songs like Motor City, Aces, Summer Sun and Vendetta are all really good songs. They've got really catchy melodies, smart, well-written lyrics, really crisp and beautiful instrumentation, fantastic production from Rick Rubin, which is definitely nice to see because his production style is very all over the place. He can do a lot of really great stuff and has done in the past, but then he also is known for these really crushed, loud and distorted songs. The production on this album is kind of completely different to anything he's done before, which is definitely really nice to see. He does a really good job creating these very crisp and lush, soft songs, and the instrumentation on all the songs that I actually really like on the album are all really well constructed. Songs like Motor City and Summer Sun are these huge sing-along songs that I've known for a few years because my mate Callum used to play them all the time while driving around and stuff, so I have these songs pretty much ingrained in my memory and couldn't help myself but sing along when listening to them on the album. But I guess the problem I have with a lot of the album is there's very few songs that have that feeling. I found a lot of the songs were just kind of boring and forgettable, and in some cases kind of repetitive. I found the song Finer Things especially repetitive and annoying, and yeah, I really didn't like that song. I'm also not too big on Walk Like a Man. I didn't like the chorus to that song especially, and other songs on the album just don't really stand out at all or really do anything for me, including the last song, Caller, which, I don't know, it just didn't really stand out. It wasn't a good closer, it just seemed like every other song on the album. Vocally, the album is pretty strong for the most part. Lead singer Henry Stanzel has an interesting voice. It reminds me a lot of David Byrne. There was a lot of moments on the album, especially when he was hitting those higher notes, where I was like, this is like David Byrne singing a folk rockabilly song, and it's definitely very interesting at times. And the melodies as well are really good. But there are a few moments where I feel like he was kind of pushing himself a bit too much and the payoff didn't really work. Luckily, these moments are very few and far in between. There was never a moment where he sang something and I was like, oh god, that doesn't work. But there are definitely a few moments where it could have been a little better, and I think he did try and push himself a bit too far, and it didn't pay off too well. Honestly, the biggest problem I have with this album is literally just that I didn't find that there was a lot that really stood out and did anything for me. Although all the songs that were previously released as singles and EPs all had charm and were pretty good, the unreleased album tracks I just didn't think were anything that special. The album did seem to suffer a lot from filler, which just didn't really do anything interesting. But it's far from a bad album. It's nowhere near the worst album I've heard this year. I just found it was kind of a midpoint album. Like, it's not the best album I've heard this year, it's not the worst album I've heard this year, it's just kind of, it's there, I guess. It's got some good songs on there, but nothing where I found myself begging to listen to it over and over again like some of the albums I've heard this year. So I apologise, Callum, that I wasn't a huge fan of the album, wasn't head over heels in love with it, but I wanted to be honest, and I guess you can't fault me for that. I'm sure you will somehow, but yeah, it's just, I just found it just kind of okay, I guess. So I give the new Ruen Brothers album All My Shades of Blue a 7 out of 10. Hi guys, thanks for watching my review of the new Ruen Brothers album. I hope you enjoyed it. I should be getting my last Hellraiser review out very, very shortly. Hopefully, like today, maybe tomorrow. It will be out this week at least. And I know a lot of people keep asking me to get the Foo Fighters reviews done, and yes, they will be done soon. Echoes, that review is almost done. I just need to finish writing it and get into doing the rest of it, but when I've got it written, that won't take long to finish. I do want to get the series done by the end of the year, and I'm going to try my hardest to do that. I just be patient, please. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.